That's Simon. So just letting you know, I'm trying to share the screen and it's saying that it is disabled at the moment.
Okay, hang on one sec. Now try that, James.
There we go. Brilliant. We'll get this up and running. All right. All right, look, first of all, I want to say thank you to Simon for getting this organized and appreciate the opportunity to speak with everyone today, just to, again, highlight, obviously, the Blue Book business, but also to give you an idea of what we do, how we can help you, and provide some positive outcomes when it comes to dealing with insurance. So I'm James Nees from Blue Book Insurance Brokers. I've got to my left, I've got Sharon, one of our claims managers.
Hi, guys.
And I've also got to my right, Tasha Moynihan, who is one of our brokers. Be the one that you'll probably be in contact with most of the time when we're starting to do the review process. So as you can see, with the title says, what am I covered for? So we're looking at, okay, what is in my insurance? What am I actually covered for? Has there been significant events or changes in my business that makes me question what my actual coverage is doing, or what am I protected for? Have I had increases in staff? Has it been a scenario where I've actually obtained a major client and that means that my revenue is now going to increase? Have I actually changed the way that I've started to run my business? Now, is it a case of being, and again, you think of the COVID environment that we're in at the moment, we've now seen a lot of businesses transition from face-to-face businesses to now moving to online portals, utilizing things like Zoom, Teams meetings, telehealth. We're starting to see that start to explode. So what has changed in your business? And I guess when we talk about the changes that are taking place, we ask the question of what am I covered for? Really, it also then falls back onto the second question of, am I actually underinsured? And we're going to go through that journey today and just sort of highlight where there might be some instances where you need to question what you're actually insured for, why there might be an opportunity to review, and what we can do from Blue Book to help you make that journey a lot easier. Now, we've got a bit of an agenda to go through this morning. First of all, I want to run through a bit about us, just so you have a bit of an idea of who Blue Book are, who you've got helping you through this insurance journey. I guess just to highlight our expertise and what we want to do to help clients out at the end of the day. We'll then run through the process that we go through as a broker to make sure that you are adequately covered from a policy wording perspective, but also making sure that you are paying the appropriate premium for the coverage that you need for your business. We'll then also go through the story of why use a broker. And through this piece, we'll also look at case studies and real life claims that have happened to allied health clients that we look after, where we've been able to utilize some of these services around saving time, utilizing our expertise and so forth. We'll then talk about the claims management piece, where I think this is when the rubber hits the road. When you're talking about claims management, you want your broker to be able to hold your hand through this process. At the end of the day, you are experts in what you do, whether it's providing consultancy, medical advice, providing plans for the clients that you deal with and the customers that you deal with. We want to be able to help you focus on what you do best. And this gives us the opportunity to do what we do best, which is look after the insurance so you can focus all your energy on those income producing activities. And then lastly, we'll do questions at the very end. So please don't be shy. I'm more than happy to take on board any questions that you have. We've got, again, two subject matter experts here, in Sharon from our claims side and Tasha from our broking side, to be able to answer those questions that you may not be aware of, or something that has been ticking in the back of your head, but you haven't had the opportunity to ask at that point in time. But without further ado, we'll get through the process. So when you're looking about us, as you can see, Blue Book, we're very much about our clients. And one of the things that attracted me to the business was the fact that it's very client-centric. We look after clients. As it says on your screen, clients are at the heart of everything that we do. So for us, I mean, you can go to any broker out there in the market, or you can go to any website, particularly direct insurers like Choosy, Finder, Select the Market. All these options that you've got available to you, they can look at cheap premiums. They can look at highlighting problems in your cover. They can look at different types of cover. But for us, it's about that client journey. being there for when you need us most. We take the time to understand what you need. Yes, we ask a lot of questions, but we want to learn about your business. We want to learn what are the intricacies of your business? Who are you dealing with on a regular basis? What are the ways you're delivering the services to your clients? And making sure that you've got adequate coverage in place that if something worst case scenario does happen, we're going to be able to respond and help you out, and that you can then focus on your business and carry on without little to no disruption. Now, when you look at the service team that's available to the UHS clients, you only see 5 people on the screen, right? You've got Peter Polakaitis, who's our managing director. You've got David McKenzie, who's our manager in our professional risk space. So when we talk about professional risk, we're talking about professional indemnity insurance. We're talking about cyber insurance. We're talking about medical malpractice. You've got me there to help support you in the way of being that point of contact. So if someone, for whatever reason, if someone was unavailable, you could always feel free to reach out to myself. You've then got Sharon managing our claims piece. So again, you've got someone to hold your hand through that claims journey. And then you've got Tasha Monahan, who's there to help you out with the broking. She's there to help find the best possible deals for you and to make sure that you've got the most appropriate cover that's tailored to your needs and to your service proposition. Now, yes, you only see 5 team members on that screen right there, but we're much bigger than that. With how broad insurance is, and to give you a bit of background on myself, I came from a life insurance background, moving into a general insurance background. There is so much to know, so many policies out there, so many wordings that are out there that it's almost next to impossible to understand every policy that's out there in market, which is why we have such a big team available at our disposal. We've got a team that specializes in white collar general liability. We have a team that specializes in blue collar general liability. We then have a team that specializes in the professional risk space. So you've got expertise in different areas that understand the motions and the workings of allied health. You've got people that understand how it works when it comes to a manufacturing business, as an example. And you've got expertise around professional indemnity, medical malpractice, because this is our bread and butter. We see it day in, day out. So you've got a really good experienced team here to help you out, understand the ins and outs of your insurance policy, and to ensure that you're in safe hands at the end of the day. So that's our team. But what does our process look like? So if we go through the process, we're talking about reviewing your existing plan. So what does that look like? When we get a new client on board, we go through the process of making sure that we can obtain some of your details. Now, without these details, we can't go to market. We can't do the review process appropriately and in an efficient manner without some of these key pieces of information. So we may ask for a certificate of currency. We may ask for a previous proposal form that you may have filled out for the last financial year or your previous renewal period. We need these details to be able to understand where your business is at and to make sure that we can adequately do a comparison for apples to apples. We then go through the existing plan, and then with understanding the existing plan, we then try to help you identify any potential gaps that might be in your business. So you might have purchased a policy for a direct insurer that is very broad in its coverage. But what our job is here to do is to make sure that we know the ins and outs of those policies. We want to make sure that, again, if worst case scenario happens, your policy responds at the end of the day. The worst thing that can happen to you is you buy a policy and it doesn't respond at claim time. You've spent hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars on an insurance policy that doesn't do anything. It's not worth the paper that it's written on. And then you add on top the cost of maybe replacing equipment or building repairs or just the disruption to your business that you can't open a door and put it at the end of the day. Once we have an understanding of where you are at that point in time, we go to market to ensure that the existing policies are of quality. Now, I'll show you an example very shortly of what it looks like when we go through that comparison piece. But when we go to market, we want to make sure that you've got an adequate policy in place to begin with. And secondly, if it's not adequate, what else is out there to make sure that we can find something that's going to put you in a better position, again, worst case scenario at claim time. And then lastly, once we have done our review process and we've done our comparisons, we'll come back to you with a proposal. We'll give you an idea of what the savings might look like. We'll give you an idea of where the gaps are and what we can do to help you make sure those gaps are plugged. Now, I mentioned just before what a comparison looks like. On your screen is part of the process that we go through. You can see there we go through a tick box process to ensure that you've got adequate coverage in place. Now, what you can see there is this was done for an optometrist. Now you can see there that there is potential gaps that we've been able to highlight in their coverage. You can see that there was a gap when it comes to professional indemnity insurance. There's also a gap when it came to cyber insurance, again, because of that particular client moving their services to more of an online base. But as you can see, as you work your way down line by line, where we've been able to highlight where the Blue Book package sits compared to their current insurance package sits, there's some distinct differences there. I think this just we just want to highlight here where we can add value to your existing program or put you in a better position, again, if worst case scenario happens.
Hey, can I just jump in there, James? And I'll just say to everyone on here, if you are not getting something like this, whether you go through UHS or Blue Book or not, and you either do it yourself or you've got another broker or another insurance company, if you're not getting regular, annual or every 2 years, every 1 or 2 year reviews that actually look like this, where they're put side by side, then you're not really being able to compare and know where your insurance should be. So I think this is a real critical piece in, regardless of who you use for your insurance, you need to be able to have a review like this. And there's not a lot of people that actually will are that transparent as Blue Book to put it side by side like this. So, and this has come from probably 3 years of trial and error trying to get the most transparent process for our clients as possible. So yeah, it's just very much worthwhile. Also, I suppose on the other side of that, and James will go into this, in terms of when we talk about why you'd use a broker, think about the time and the level of competent knowledge that it would take to understand this and get this sort of a review done if you're trying to do it yourself. So just be careful of that. I'm not saying people shouldn't do these things themselves, but it comes down to where's your time best spent and also your areas of expertise. So it is a time consuming process, and there are times when you'd be better off spent focusing on your patients and your staff and that sort of stuff. So yeah. Okay, James, sorry, I'll just jump back in.
That's all right. No, thanks for that, Simon. I think that's nicely put it into our next section, which is going to talk about why we use a broker. And I think you hit the nail on the head at the very beginning there when you're talking about saving yourself time. This is one thing that we want to be able to give back to you as the clients, is to give you back time in your business so you can concentrate on what is important for you. It's great being a jack of all trades, but then you're the master of none. You've done all the study, you've done all the work to be experts in your particular field. And this is an opportunity to leave the insurance piece to someone that is specialized in that area to make sure that you're, again, at the end of the day, covered, and you can carry on your business in the best way possible. We want to talk about accessing better deals and cover. So this is, again, another opportunity where using a broker can get you a better policy, can get you better wording, can get you maybe a better premium because of the fact that we have some leverage that we can utilize with the broader group. But it also highlights that when you're going through the direct space, in particular, when you're going through your choosy select the market, they're not going to give you a tailored approach. It's going to be very broad. And again, it could potentially leave you with lots of gaps out there. We want to utilize our experience. Again, when we talked about at the very beginning, the service team that you've got available to you, there is decades and decades of experience there. Peter, our managing director alone, he's been in the insurance industry for 20 plus years. So again, you've got a strong team behind you that's going to be able to look out for your best needs, and we're going to put your best interests at heart and put them first at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, and this is where the rubber hits the road, I mentioned it already, but you've got an experienced team in your corner. Where this is going to have the greatest impact is in your time of need when it comes to claims time. Again, you don't want any disruptions to your business, or you want to minimize those disruptions, keeping in mind that when you've got that experienced team in your corner, we're working for you. We are not working for the insurer. We're making sure we can get the best outcome for you at the end of the day. So if we go, why do we use a broker? We're looking in particular into more that save yourself time piece. I mean, on average, if you look at SME businesses in particular, they spend 13.5 hours more than a broker searching for adequate insurance, searching for a price or competitive pricing on their insurance, making sure they're managing claims in an efficient manner. And this is on average. Now, this was a study done by Deloitte. But as you can see on your screen, in the light green, that's what it takes for a broker to go through the process. In the dark green, that's what it looks like for the average client out there. Now, again, bearing in mind, these are averages. So you could think, depending on your knowledge around insurance, it may take longer, it may take a little bit less. But there's a clear, distinct difference that if we go through the broking piece, that you're going to be able to save yourself some significant time, particularly when you're looking at identifying the ideal policy. Because again, we've had a lot of experience dealing with allied health, so we know what is required, what is needed when it comes to these types of practices and clinics. When it comes to finding and comparing insurers, it's not an easy task. There is a lot of times where you need to know what you're comparing, and you need to make sure the wording is appropriate for what your coverage is or what your exposures are. Probably one of the big things you'll find is making a claim. Again, there'll be an example that we'll run through very shortly about the claims process, but claims process, they could take, if you're managing it on your own, it could take weeks, if not months. Whereas we've had quick turnaround times for claims where we've had them turned around in less than 1 working week. And then you're looking for the review process. And again, you think about what I asked at the very beginning of the session was, okay, how's your business changed? Have you changed the processes in which you deliver your advice? Are you working more in a telehealth or a video environment where you're not meeting clients face-to-face or patients face-to-face? These are exposures that you now need to review moving forward. So if we're looking at that save yourself time, and we're talking about that claims piece, we're talking about fast outcomes. So we actually had a UHS client. They notified Blue Book that a generator had broken down and was leaking oil on the 30th of August. We advised the client that the policy would respond due to unforeseen circumstances. Client was unsure of the process and attempted to handle the claim on their own. Now, this is a process where after lots of back and forth conversations, we had to educate the client to highlight our services, the value that we could add, and what we could do to help them out through the claim. This allowed the client to concentrate on their clinic, avoid any unnecessary disruptions in their business. And as you can see, we managed to finalize the claim in less than 1 working week. And this is from when the times that the claim forms were filled in, submitted, and the claimant actually received the payout in their bank account. And as you can see, it was a total of just under $10,000. So utilizing a broker through that claims piece, obviously we want to provide you a fast outcome. We want to be able to ensure that there's as little or no disruptions to your business as possible. And this is where we can help you out, like this UHS client, when it comes to that claims piece.
I think I might just jump in there quickly too, James, just to throw it in. It's really important for those people out there that may not be using Blue Book. If you just because you're using a broker doesn't mean that they will do this for you. Some of the brokers there really are just there to manage policies, coordinate a policy. But the thing with Blue Book, you need a broker that's got that specialist claims manager there, someone that actually is working for you, so you're not having to ever talk to the insurer. That's a key piece, because they also understand how to speak to the insurer as well. There is a difference. So just be mindful of that, guys, because I know out there, and this is being broadcast as well, there'll be a lot of other clients out there that may have their own broker or use a different broker, and I can vouch that Blue Book do handle the claims, but not all brokers will give you that service. They might say they do, or they might put it on their website that they do, but in the reality of the claim is how much you shouldn't have to do anything other than give the broker your details at the end of the day, the details of the event. Yeah. Sorry. Back to you, James.
Thanks, Simon. So we'll move on to the second point, access to better deals. Now, the worst thing you can do is go onto a direct insurer's website and just try and find the cheapest policy for the direct insurer. What it does do, it means that it potentially is going to cost you quite a lot in the long run if an unexpected claim comes upon where the policy doesn't respond. So sometimes it does pay to spend a little bit more time or utilizing the expertise of a broker to be able to find the best policy for you. Again, we have access to competitive deals. We have access to really good wording. And we want to be able to make sure and take the time to take you through that process to make sure that you, at the end of the day, have the appropriate level of cover. As you can see, this study for Vero was released earlier in the year. Talks about using a broker and how much time it saves them and what they can do to focus on their business. It talks about access to better policy wordings that you couldn't get elsewhere. And we think about, again, how many business changes have taken place over the last 18 to 24 months, particularly since the COVID pandemic has taken place. Some of our businesses are becoming more complex. So it means that your insurance needs to also match that complexity. So this is where making sure that you review is going to get you the appropriate level of cover at the end of the day. So again, another UHS client, this client was based in Canberra. They had come to us to do the initial review after being referred on to us by Simon. And when we did the review, we found out that they're obviously paying an exorbitant amount for the cover that they had. And there were some notable gaps in their insurance. After review, we were able to provide them a competitive comparison, which provided them better policy wording at a cost-effective price. Subsequently, clients suffered a weather event around the Christmas and New Year's break. So again, we know what summers are like in Australia. They can get they're very sporadic. They could be good one day, they could be storming, it could be cyclonic weather the next. So when this particular weather event took place, it resulted in a large amount of damage to stock contents machinery for this particular client at UHS. Now, had the client had retained their original policy, some of the items actually wouldn't have been insured. So they wouldn't have got the full payout at the end of the day. Now, if you look through this particular claim, it was quite a lengthy claim. There was a lot of legwork that we had to do for the majority of the time to make sure, one, that the client could focus on their business and there wasn't any disruption, but to make sure that we can get the claim paid out in a timely and efficient manner. Because of the complexity around it and because of the business change that took place, it took almost 5 months for this claim to take place. But at the end of the day, we were able to get a positive outcome for this client to cover their losses, which equated to just over $16,000. We go into the next section, why use a broker? You want to utilize our experience. Now, again, we all know, hand on heart, we look at our insurances, we look at our car insurance, we look at our home and content insurance year on year. Some of us might have pet insurance. A lot of us will probably have health insurance. We see premiums go up left, right, and center. And we take the task upon ourselves to try and see what's out there to try and find a better deal. Now, when we try and do this, the first couple of comparisons we do, pretty easy going. But then the more we dig deeper into it, it becomes a very tedious task. And what we want to do here by utilizing our experience is that, again, we've got specialized teams in various areas that know these policies inside out. So in a timely manner, we can find what's appropriate for your business or find what's appropriate for your particular needs to ensure that you're not wasting time, losing out on clients, losing out on patients. You're not taking a whole business day to try and find the most appropriate cover for yourself at the end of the day. Now, through Vero, they did this study again at the beginning of the year. There was a perception around SMEs that they found that evaluating their insurance needs was pretty easy. But when it came to actually understanding the policy wording, only 39% were confident in that. And again, having been in insurance for many years now, and not just in general insurance, but also being in that life insurance space through various roles, they're so particular around the wordings. There's no two policies that are going to be the same. There's going to be variances to varying degrees, and we want to make sure that you're confident in making those informed decisions. And this is what we're here to do, is to give you the confidence to make an informed decision when it comes to picking the right insurance at the right price for your particular needs. So we're talking about another successful review. Another UHS member at the time came to us to review their existing cover. Upon the review, they had gone through a direct insurer, which again had a number of gaps. One of them being the motor breakdown in the stock. Fast forward a year later, clients suffered an outage on their fridge, which subsequently spoiled the vaccines that they had in that particular fridge. By walking the clients through the claims process and making sure that we had the necessary information supplied in a timely manner, we were able to close off the claim in under 7 days. Now, it's not something that a lot of the clinics that we've dealt with in the past have thought of initially, but they're becoming more and more aware that something like a motor breakdown is very important, particularly if you're holding vaccines. And I guess we're talking about pharmacies, we're talking about medical clinics, doctors' clinics. Those are the types of ones that are going to be holding some of these vaccines, and you want to make sure your stock doesn't get spoiled.
Anything, and I'd say just quickly again, sorry to butt in, James. I think that's one of the biggest areas we see for medical and pharmacy being underinsured is what they call cold storage, because generally it's an extra cover. And same with that motor breakdown. So the combination of those two, most people either don't have cover or their insurers throw in a standard $5,000 worth of cover, which I'd say in most cases is well and truly inadequate for cold storage. Maybe not so much now that we haven't, probably you guys, GPs out there wouldn't have a lot of travel vaccines at the moment in your fridges, but as that starts to open up again, just be very mindful. Cold storage is, and which anything in your fridges, that really is one of the areas we see a lot of clinics that are underinsured or just don't have any insurance at all on that. Thank you. Go back, James.
Thanks, Simon. I guess the last one I want to touch on, again, why use a broker, is that you've got an experienced team in your corner. And again, I've probably harped on it about it already a lot, but this is when the rubber hits the road. This is where you need a team in your corner to make sure that if worst case scenario happens, we can help you out through claims. As you can see on your screen there, we as brokers have a very important role when it comes to claims. And as you can see, as businesses have changed over the last couple of years, there's been a bit more of a reliance on brokers to help with that claims piece. And you can see by the satisfaction levels that where a broker is involved in that particular claim, there's a significant increase in their satisfaction levels as a client, compared to particularly direct buyers of insurance. So again, when it comes to having an experienced team in your corner, please remember, we're here working for you. We're here to support you. We want to make sure that, again, you got the most appropriate cover in place by the end of the day, but at the same time that in your time of need, you can concentrate on your business. You can make sure that your cash producing exercises, activities are going to continue as normal with little to no disruption to your business. I guess the last example that we've got here around a claim is particularly around the PI piece. Now, this is something that I've highlighted before. If you think back to when we did that comparison around that optometrist and the professional indemnity cover that we found was a gap in their insurance. Not necessarily the same scenario here, but it's something that we want to make sure that if you are providing that advice or if you are providing treatment to some of your clients out there or some of your patients out there, that you've got appropriate cover in place. And this is where some of those policies just don't have that coverage. As we can see, a physiotherapist was treating the claimant at their clinic utilizing dry needling therapy. Claim came through to claim a solicitor, deeming that the physiotherapist was negligent in the treatment of the claimant. And there were three particular areas that the claim was referring to: failing to obtain any or adequate consent to use dry needling, failing to properly or at all sterilize the dry needling instruments used on the claimant, and failing to adequately adhere to standardized guidelines for safety and sterile technique. Now, I have no doubt that everyone is doing the right thing, but there are some times when these types of cases do come up. And this is when you want to ensure that you've got a policy that's going to respond to you and respond to the issue at that point in time, if it was to ever come about. So by undertaking a thorough approach with our claims management and regular engagement with the client, we're able to obtain obviously a positive outcome here with their insurance policy responding, therefore indemnifying the insured. The insurance company resolved the case for mediation with the client, outcome coming to a total of $95,000. Now, again, quite a large sum insured, or large sum to be insured for, but at the end of the day, do we all have $95,000 just sitting in a spare account ready to pay out if something like this was to happen? This is why we have insurance in place, and this is why you want to make sure you've got the appropriate cover if something like this was to happen. The next section we're going to run through is claims management. Now, again, we've gone through a few claims examples, but this is where someone like Blue Book here can really help you out and make sure that your hand is held during that claims piece, that you're not alone, and it's not going to eat up into your time at the end of the day. For us, when it comes to claims management, and I guess in particular Sharon, when she's helping you out from a claims piece, is that you've got her as your dedicated claims manager. We've also got everyone in our team that is trained in claims. So if for whatever reason, if Sharon wasn't available, you've got someone like Tasha that can help you out with the claims piece. For us, it's about immediate response and lodgement of claims with the insurer. So again, provided that we've got all the information available to us in a timely manner, we can get that information off to the insurers almost immediately and to ensure that the claim is completed in a timely manner. For us, it's all about prompt and efficient delivery of all documentation. So we want to make sure when we go through that claims journey that we have everything that we need, because anything that's missing through that claims journey is just going to delay the process. And the last thing we want to do is delay the process and cost you valuable time in your business. Through, again, our relationships that we have with the insurers, there's a lot of situations where we're actually able to secure pre-appointment of loss adjusters where available, again, to avoid unnecessary delays. We have a very proactive and timetabled status review of all claims. So we will continually be in contact with yourself as a client if a claim was to come about. We'll guide you and provide you a pathway to ensure that we can do this in the smoothest transition as possible to again ensure that it's done in a timely manner. There's nothing left outstanding. No stone is left unturned. And at the end of the day, for us, it's about assistance with claim recoveries to improve your loss history. So when we go through that review process, we want to make sure that when we help you out with those claim recoveries, that if we are trying to find you a better outcome in market, that you're put in the best possible position to get the best possible cover at the best possible price at the end of the day. So like I mentioned before, we maintain close contact from the time of the incident through to settlement. And as you can see below, this gives you a bit of an idea as to the process and the steps that we take to make sure that you're comfortable with how we operate and how we manage your claim if you are to jump on board. So as you can see, we go through the notification process, we investigate, we then negotiate, and we try and obtain the best possible settlements that we can to help you out at the end of the day. But I guess where this all comes down to is, again, if you think back a few slides to saving yourself time, as you can see on your screen, how much does what you spend your time on actually cost you? Now, we can talk about, if again, in my own personal circumstances, my wife and I are going to an obstetrician. We're spending about $300 per session. So is that how you give value on time that is spent? I mean, depending on the type of practice or clinic or the advice you're giving, are you charging $200-300 per consultation or per visit or per client? And if you were to lose 1 or 2 business days out of your week because you're trying to manage a claim or you're trying to manage your insurance, where's all that money going? So for us, it's about giving you more time so you can concentrate on what you do best, which is look after your clients at the end of the day. So I guess where we start to come towards the end of the presentation is, well, we asked the question. We asked it at the very beginning. Are you underinsured? What I've seen through my experiences through various insurances being in the financial services space is that one of the common themes I've seen is there's underinsurance everywhere. It could be a matter of $1,000. It could be a few $100,000. But underinsurance is a big issue in Australia. And you think of how highly exposed we are to weather events like fires, floods, torrential rain, you name it. We do live in a country that is heavily exposed. So you want to make sure that you've got the most appropriate cover in place. Now, yes, the lower the premium, the narrower the cover. And this is probably more in relation to when it comes to direct insurance, where we see a lot of our clients that come through to us to do reviews of the policies, that a lot of the time they're obtaining their cover through direct insurers because they don't have time to be doing the research, to do the comparisons, they have the understanding of the policy wording. So when it comes to direct insurers, more often than not, the lower the premium, the narrower the cover. And I guess you're going to remember, you get what you pay for when it comes to direct insurers. If you're trying to find the cheapest policy possible by going through a choosy, chances are it's going to cost you a lot more in the long run when it comes to claim. And as you can see, you know what they always say, when your client asks if you can do it cheaper, you're not going to get the best possible job. So To finish up there.
Sorry, James, I'm going to jump in one more time just before we go to questions, just on that underinsurance. The other thing that is really probably timely at the moment to consider is your cyber insurance. It's, again, I know a lot of health professionals out there, probably they've either got it where it's just been rolled up in part of their existing cover, and the insurers sort of added an extra little bit in there. So it looks like it's covered, but as a health professional, with the data breach laws that are out there now, and then you throw on top of that this move to telehealth, be it on video or a phone, your exposure around that's gone through the roof, and the fines are significant. And also, if we go back a couple of years, in Australia, small businesses that were fined for data breaches, the majority of them were in the health space. So and that's purely because of, and I suppose most people don't think it'll happen to them until you sit with an IT professional and watch the cyber attacks going through or at their firewalls for clients they manage. You don't really realize, because there's Medicare numbers in there, and all these organized criminals can actually, I don't mean to scare everyone, but it is a real threat out there. It's happening all the time. And I think we probably underestimate it. It doesn't matter what sort of health business that you're in. You probably don't realize just how much, and I know GPs do, because, you know, they've got sensitive health information. But if we look at allied health and pharmacy, there is a lot of financial information or information that is of value there. And these places, they target small businesses because they're generally easier to get into. So really, two sort of learnings in that: really review your cyber insurance or get someone who knows it to review it for you. And also then probably I would review just exactly what your IT providers are doing in terms of your cybersecurity. Get someone who knows what they're doing to do a real professional audit on it. That's just a couple of things that we've seen come, you know, it is very much sneaking up on us. And I've seen a few unfortunate areas in there where people just haven't done anything wrong, but just haven't been aware of that they're undercovered or underprotected in that cyber security space and cyber insurance. So really, definitely worthwhile reviewing at the moment, given the environment and how the businesses are changing towards telehealth. And also, not only telehealth, but e-scripts, you know, they're starting to float around, and they're going to become more and more prevalent. And I know the different vessels for that are out there at the moment are, you know, the security's with them, but you'd need to make sure that your end of that is pretty secure. And then if it's not, that you are covered in the event of something happening. Okay, so we'll jump into questions now. For those of you that watch this video on YouTube or via a stream, if you've got questions, certainly shoot us a message in the comments or an email to just jump on our website. You can submit an inquiry form there, and we'll certainly help you out with any queries you have and forward them through to Blue Book as well. So if anyone here at the moment has any questions, just sort of, you can unmute yourselves and ask them, or drop them into the chat, and James and his team will answer them. And we'll go from there. And James might also run through some of the questions that they get asked a lot as well. I'll let you, James, maybe do you want to jump into some of your queries and things that you get asked, and then we'll go.
Yeah, that's fine. I guess I'll ask the first question. I'll throw it over to Tasha. So I guess, Tasha, from your perspective, I'll bring her into screen. So I guess, Tasha, from your experience, is there really much difference in coverage between what a customer can get on their own versus what we can get?
Yeah, that's a question that I get quite often. When a client, particularly if they are in the direct space, looking at getting a product, oftentimes it doesn't have the inclusions that we have negotiated. We have a select group of insurers that we use, which offer us the benefits through the members and exclusive benefits. We have higher business interruption, sums insured, claim preparation expenses, for example, up to $100,000. Now, when you are dealing with a large event, you may have costs that start to escalate very quickly. We also have automatically included removal of debris, machinery breakdown, and also the stock deterioration or the cold chain breach that was mentioned earlier. That's one of the key areas where I think we have seen a lot of value add, and by providing a comprehensive review of their existing policy, we're able to identify those areas where there may be a coverage issue that the client just isn't aware of. They may think that they are fully covered for accidental damage, for example. Again, I'm referring to property, when in fact they have a defined events policy. So it's really important to make sure that you have a chat with us to see whether you have adequate insurance cover. So we really can make a difference in most cases.
Thanks for that, Natasha. Next question I'll throw to Sharon, and I guess I touched on it earlier around paperwork and making sure we've got everything ready to go when we go to the insurer to provide that claim piece. So Sharon, I guess from your perspective, what documentation would clients need to prepare to make sure that the claim is completed in a timely manner?
Sure. Hi everyone. Depending on the claim, obviously a claim form's an obvious one, and it's a good one too because it helps you, it prompts you to write things down when something happens, so that, you know, down the track you don't forget. What else do we need? We need, if it's a breakdown of a fridge or whatever, you need a report from a repairer to confirm the cause, so we can establish whether the policy is going to respond. And then if it's repairable, a repair cost, and if not repairable and requires replacement, a replacement cost.
Is it, Sharon, I was just going to ask that, is it helpful in the event if you've got, say, be it a break-in or damage to property, or, you know, a weather event causing damage, whatever it might be, is it helpful to have photographs there to document?
Definitely, yes. Yes, it is. That's a good point.
Yeah.
But in the event of a claim, and, you know, if you contact us, I'll always put something back to you in writing what we need going forward. Because usually at the time you're a little bit frazzled perhaps, and something in writing is helpful for you to refer back to.
Yeah, and if we've all got phones on us at, you know, these times, so if you can snap a few photographs of what's happened, or if whether it be a break-in or storm damage or whatever.
Even with the loss of, you know, stock, if there's vaccines in the fridge that cannot be used because the fridge is broken down, good idea to take a photo of the stock just so that we can see it exists, really.
Yeah.
Yep.
Going to throw it back to Tasha. I guess, Tasha, we talk about at the beginning going through our process around obtaining client details, but we also often get a question of clients saying, well, why do you want a copy of my existing insurance policy? Do you mind touching on that a little bit more?
Sure. This is another question I get very often. So the reason why I will ask for a copy of an insurance policy, not because I'm being nosy, but because I want to offer a comparison, apples for apples, like we showed earlier on in this webinar. I will go through and I will see whether there are any gaps in cover, any areas that I can recommend, for example, cyber insurance, management liability insurance as well. So these copies of your existing insurances allow me to do that much easier. I can compare excesses, and I can show you throughout that schedule that we report back to you with exactly where we are offering you maximum cover. I can also point out perhaps where we may not be on an equal footing as well. So we're very transparent. We don't just show the sunshine, we show in reality comparison. And I think we are one of the few brokers out there that truly show you a fair comparison, which is why wanting to see a copy of what you have already allows us to do that for you. Also, we can compare premiums. However, if you are shy about that, you don't want to disclose that, just show me the rest of the insurance schedule you have, and that allows me to be able to do that comparison for you.
Thanks so much. We have one more. Throw it over to Sharon again. And Sharon, probably I guess coming into the summer months and we're knowing what sort of weather events usually take place. If an event was to take place, what do we do?
First thing we can do is call us and we will guide you in the right direction. Obviously, you can call emergency services, fire brigade, the SES, whatever. What else do we do? But the main thing is to let us know when something happens and we can guide you going forward.
And in the way of guiding us going forward, do we do anything with it? Can we still run the business if it's safe to do so?
If it's safe to do so, yes, most definitely. And if there's something you need to do, assuming it's if there's something that you need to do to get on with your business, obviously do it. Don't hesitate to not do it. But like Simon said before, take photos is helpful too. Yeah.
Was there any other questions that popped up in the chat? I don't have access to it.
No, they're not there. So that's fine. I think we've answered some good questions there. Given guys, I think that was really good. Thank you for that. Very helpful and hopefully bit of insightful. There's some contact details there. Certainly, as I said, if you're watching this on YouTube or via stream, you just you can, I don't know if you'll be able to click on that, but you can certainly jump back on our website or put some questions into the comments on YouTube. And thank you everyone for joining us, for watching. James, thanks for that. That was very informative. And in terms of from a United Health Services point of view, we will next month, just if you're interested, we are going, that's the month of November. We're going to actually have a look at your personal insurances. So we've got a financial specialist coming on board to talk through who focuses solely on medical and health professionals to look at your life insurance, your trauma insurance, income protection, those sorts of things. So it goes hand in hand with what the guys here at Blue Book do.
Well, really appreciate the opportunity again, Simon, and thanks everyone for jumping on board today.
No worries. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.